We'll now go back to the story where we talked about the world marking the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. And of course, we are joined by Emmanuel Etim, who of course is the Executive Director of Advocates for the Rights of Women and Youth Initiative. Thank you so much, Mr. Etim, for joining us on the news.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start this way. How widespread is conflict-related sexual violence in Nigeria based on your field experience?
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, conflict in sexual violence in conflict is something that, we used to hear from outside Nigeria, but in recent times it's something that has become more prevalent in Nigeria, and it's become something that we need to begin to look into. I mean, in recent times you see the issues around Benue State, and of course, before now, you would see, we heard about the issues from the big Bring Back Our Girls time up till now. These are things that have been in the front burner that we need to begin to have this conversation, because every day it keeps getting closer to everyone's doorstep. Thank you.
So then, what are some of the biggest challenges for these survivors, not just in the immediate aftermath, but then in accessing justice, care, and of course long-term supports?
I mean, because the issues around gender-based violence and sexual violence in itself is very traumatic, and you realize that survivors usually have the challenge around even just seeking justice in itself. The duration which they would have to, go to court and follow up on these issues, it really takes a long time. We talk about the trauma around sexual violence in itself is very traumatic. So we need to begin to have, centers that can support survivors, offering trauma-informed care to survivors across the country, even taking it down to the communities, because some of these things are very prevalent in our communities, in the sub-hubs, right? So we need to look at all of how we can begin to integrate trauma-informed therapy into the public health system of our country, and see how we can support survivors. The issues around stigma, how can we begin to let people understand the impact and the implications of stigmatizing people that are going through, conflict-related sexual violence. It's a long road, but we need to start from somewhere to begin to close these gaps.
So then, is the Nigerian government doing enough to protect vulnerable women and, of course, girls in conflict zones?
I would say no to that, right? Because I mean, if they are doing enough, we wouldn't be having these recent issues going on. I believe that government can do better around policy and ensuring that we have the policies not just on paper, but we begin to take it from paper to action, from words to action, because these are things that, people are facing every day. How can we review policies? How can we have new policies in place? Recently, our organization launched a policy that integrates arts and culture in ending gender-based violence in Nigeria. We need to begin to, see how we can use different strategies to empower people, to educate people, to inform people, because information is power. How can we begin to ensure that some of these policies we have are able to hold perpetrators to book? Because beyond just having policies, we need to begin to implement these policies. And who are the people that are supposed to implement these policies, if not government? So government, yes, they are not doing enough, I would say. When you go around the medical facilities that we have, most of the stigmas that happen, that survivors face is from even the medical sector, because when you present in the medical center, it begins with stigma. Okay, what were you doing? How did you get raped? You were in the bad place, and stuff like that. We need to move in from there to focus on the issue and leave out stigma, right? So I think when we begin to synergize these things, and recently there's been need for us to look into curriculum development, around these issues, so that people in secondary schools schools begin to get awareness around gender-based violence, begin to get this information. Let's see how we can narrow it down so that, you know, you have courses on GBV across schools in Nigeria so that young people begin to imbibe this knowledge and become better people in our society.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Etim, for doing the Lord's work on this case. It was nice talking to you.